Right, today at the Billy B Creative Studio, we're really pleased to welcome vocalist, drummer, guitarist and bass player Rob Wylde, who many of you out there will recognise as frontman with glam hard rock outfits Tiger Tails, Teenage Casket Company and trip band Poison. So thanks Rob for giving up some of your valuable time today, coming talking to us.
No problem, no problem.
So Rob, when you were banging away on those pots and pans as a youngster, did you ever think you would embark on such a musical adventure as you've been on?
Not really, no. But you know, to me as a little kid, I mean, music was always really, really important for me. You know, from being, you know, as young as I can remember, even though my parents didn't play a musical instrument. You know, my kind of the family down the family tree, you know, on my mum's side were all kind of singers and musicians and stuff. So I think it was in my blood to play music. And like you said, yeah, I started playing on, my dad used to make homemade wine, and he used to have these big wine drums. And basically, you know, I wanted to be a drummer, so my favourite band at the time was Duran Duran, so I would, you know, sit in front of the TV and watch Top of the Pops, and, you know, I'd be playing along on the you know, my makeshift drum kit. So after a while of doing that, you know, I asked my parents for a drum kit, and they were having none of it, so I kind of graduated then to playing guitar and taking guitar lessons, and then from there, you know, started singing, and then, you know, started playing bass, and then started writing songs, and then it all kind of, you know, spiraled from there really. But music was always what I wanted to do from being a little kid. You know, I never wanted to be, you know, like a lot of my friends wanted to be like footballers and all that kind of stuff, you know, what little boys want to be. But for me, all I ever wanted to do was play music. You know, my mum took me to see Europe, the band Europe, when I was like 11 years old, and that just completely blew my mind, and that I remember that night vividly as kind of one of those kind of defining moments in your life. I just remember just standing there with my mouth open, and I was just like, that's it, that's where my life is going to be going. I want to do that, you know. And that was it, you know. And it was all kind of uphill or downhill from there. I'm not sure I'm not sure which way, but that's pretty much how it started. That was it for me. I never looked back, you know. I always kind of set my sight on what I wanted to do, and but yeah, I mean, to get to kind of where I've got, you know, at the minute, it's pretty insane, really. You know, there's a lot of good stuff that's happened along the way, you know. So it's been good.
Yeah, okay. Is Rob Wylde in a happy place just now as well?
Definitely, yes. He's in a very happy place at the moment. Yeah, I mean, like with anything, you know, I mean, you have your kind of ups and downs, and your good times and your bad times, and at the minute everything's really working out, you know, on all kind of levels of my life at the minute. So it's all kind of panned out. I had a bit of a rough ride earlier this year, but got through that, and musically, you know, I'm really happy at the minute, you know, with what's going on. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, because over the years you've played with lots of bands.
Yeah,
I guess with varying genres, or you know, currently your big thing is Tiger Tails.
Yeah,
the whole sort of glam hard rock type thing.
Yeah.
Currently you've got 4 UK dates left this year with Tiger Tails.
Yeah.
I understand exciting news is on the horizon for the band in 2016.
Yeah. Well, we've got, like I said, 4 dates left this year. We're playing, let me get this right, October 30th. We're at the Iron Road in Evesham. October 31st, we're at Brickmakers in Norwich. November 27th, we're at the Classic Grand in Glasgow, and November 28th, we're in at the Ruby Lounge in Manchester. So they're the dates to anybody that wants to come out. That we've got left this year. But yeah, next year we're going to be putting out a new album, which we're actually working on at the minute, which is hopefully going to be out in March, April time next year. And then we're doing a full UK tour. So we're doing, I think it's like 3 weeks, I think. And then we're also next year, I've just found out, apparently in January, February, I think we're going to play dates in Germany and Belgium. But these have actually got to be confirmed at the minute, but I heard about those the other night. And then towards the end of next year, we're going back to the States and we're doing the Rock and School Festival in Chicago. And hopefully we're going to incorporate some US dates into that kind of time frame as well. So next year is going to be really busy, you know, with the new album. We've also got a new video which we're shooting in literally 2 weeks, which is hopefully going to be out. We're actually shooting 2 videos, one of which is going to be out before Christmas, and then one's going to be out to kind of coincide with the tour and the album next spring. So going to be really busy with Tiger Tails next year, definitely.
That's cool. Has the album got a title yet? Or is that still a work in progress?
No, we've got a few ideas, but nothing set in stone at the minute. So.
Okay, is there anything you can tell us about the songs?
Yeah, the songs are. We're kind of trying to kind of, you know, experiment a little bit, and you know, obviously with it being, you know, a new lineup and with me now singing, we're trying to kind of you know, play to our strengths sort of thing, because I think the cool thing with Tiger Tails is the kind of, you know, I'm now the 4th and hopefully the final singer for the band, but I think every singer's been very, you know, very different from the last, you know, and they've all kind of brought in their own style and the way that they sing and stuff like that, and my stuff, I think my voice is very kind of melodic, and it's got that kind of, it suits better, I think, doing the poppier type of stuff rather than the full-on kind of metal stuff, which occasionally, you know, Tiger Tails do. So I think it's kind of going to be a mix of the kind of, you know, some heavier songs, but I think if anything, from, you know, the songs that we've, you know, got going at the minute, they seem to be going in a kind of more poppier kind of melodic direction. So I think if anything, I think it's probably going to end up kind of like, you know, a Berserk sounding album, which is obviously Tails' you know, classic album, which had, you know, you had the heavier stuff like, you know, 6X and I Can Fight Dirty Too, but you also had like the pop side like Love Bomb Baby and Twist and Shake, and I think this album's going to be kind of more along those sort of lines, really. So kind of just trying some new things out. I think a couple of songs will surprise, you know, a few people, I think, you know, as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good album anyway. There's no doubt about that.
Do you see this album as taking Tiger Tails to a new level or a new direction?
I think
what
so.
You just said?
Yeah, I think so a little bit. Yeah, I think you know. But having said that, I mean, you know, in the past, Tails have, you know, done the poppier stuff, but I don't think they've done the poppy stuff for a long time. You know, for quite a long time they've been doing the heavier stuff, really. And we're actually covering one of the songs on the album is an old Mud song from which is this is Jay's idea, because Jay's, you know, really influenced by a lot of that stuff. We're doing a song called Dynamite, which was kind of like a kind of a 70s glam rock, and we're kind of doing a video to kind of coincide with that. So that is kind of a little bit different than I guess what, you know, some people would expect. But all the songs so far that we've got, you know, they you know, are sounding great. So it's going to be a good album no matter what, you know.
And has the writing been a collaborative effort, or are there any particular individuals within the band that throw the ideas forward? Or
it's mainly Jay, but, you know, as a songwriter myself, you know, I've contributed a few ideas as well. I mean, at the minute, I think we've got about 5 songs for the album. I've written 1 song for the album, and hopefully I'm going to collaborate a little bit more as well. So it's mainly going to be a collaboration between me and Jay, really, you know, with it. But mainly Jay, he's the main songwriter for Tails.
I mean, do you see 2016 as a big year for Tiger Tails generally? The band has been around for a few years, and you played 3 different roles in the band, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Do you see this as a sort of pivotal year? Or
yeah, I think so, definitely. I think it's, you know, again with the new lineup, you know, I think it's kind of one of those things where I think any time you change, especially when you change a singer, I think you really have to kind of prove yourself, because you get a lot of people who will be turning up and they'll be like, you know, kind of on the defensive before you've even seen it, you know. So it's up to me to kind of win people. I mean, up to now, I mean, the response has actually been really good, but you're always going to get a few people that are like, well, why is he singing, whatever. So I think next year is a really important year to kind of relaunch the band, and I think it's going to be a lot easier now as well, because in the past, the guy that was singing, Jules Millis, who's one of my best friends in the world, but he was from Australia, so he was traveling all the way from Australia to do stuff, so we were limited as to what we could do, and we did have to turn down festivals and this and that because he couldn't physically keep flying over from Australia to do stuff. So now we're all based in the UK. There's a lot more opportunity for us to go out and do stuff. So I think we're going to be really, really busy next year, and hopefully next year and beyond, really.
You have another band, Teenage Casket Company, which you do in your spare time,
Yeah.
if you're getting it as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the pipeline for that band?
Yeah. We're actually we're going to be recording a brand new song in November, and possibly just putting that out, maybe doing a video for that, and but that's probably going to be coming out next year. I mean, I've got songs written for that, but it's all nowadays. It's always tricky as to kind of which way you approach things, because people, I mean, our last album, it was great, but as most people just either steal it or when you're technically an unsigned band, you can't afford to shell out all the money to make an album and not make the money back. So you've got to be a bit more kind of careful as to how you kind of go about it. So new song, hopefully new video, and then we're actually playing Hard Rock Hell, the Hard Rock Hell Festival in March next year as well. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, look forward to
And
seeing
then
you there.
yeah.
I mean, does playing with Teenage Casket Company in any way complement what you do with Tiger Tales, or do you see it as a totally separate entity?
Yeah, it's a completely different thing, really. I mean, TCC is very much kind of more of a power pop thing, more of a almost like a Cheap Trick style. It's very poppy, and obviously I sing and play guitar, but it's a completely different style of singing, a completely different just image and everything. Tiger Tales is a very, very different animal to. I mean, I love them both equally, but it is two completely different things, which is quite good. I quite enjoy that, because I think if they were both kind of similar, it wouldn't be quite as exciting, but you definitely kind of wear a different hat for doing both bands, if you get what I mean, and you dress differently, and it's a completely different thing, really.
Almost like having an alter ego.
Almost, yeah, exactly.
For sure, yeah.
That's it.
And your third band, Poison, could you tell us just a little bit about
what
Poison's about?
That's something I started about 4 years ago, and because I never really wanted to do. I was never really been into doing covers, the cover band thing, and I was never really into doing the tribute thing. But a few of my friends playing tribute bands and earn a lot of money, and I was just like, what, it'd be quite nice to earn some decent money from, and Poison's a band I grew up on, so it was a no-brainer. It's just a real fun, it's concentrating on the classic Poison, first 3 albums, and we just go out and have just a riot. It's just a real fun time, and and I think, not being biased, but I think we do a pretty decent job of, and the cool thing is as well, there's a few Poison tributes out in the States, but there's 0 Poison tributes in the UK or Europe. So we kind of, get a bit of a niche market there, because, a lot of bands, like Motley bands, and Kiss bands, there's a lot of, there's a lot out there. But with Poison, we're literally the only one. So that kind of works in our favour as well.
Yeah, I think the problem with the UK market is flooded with certain bands that have got lots of tributes.
Yeah,
to pick one that's unique.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good trick, is that? Just back in 2014, I should imagine quite a big moment in your life. You supported Kiss and Cheap Trick on the Kiss Cruise Tour.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything interesting about that tour?
That was amazing. A complete dream come true. For me, being the biggest Kiss fan on the planet. It was unreal. It was basically the Kiss Cruise, which, to anybody that doesn't know, is this luxurious kind of cruise ship which basically just cruises around the Caribbean, and and yeah, and it was, the weather was beautiful. It was, the end of October, but out there it was like 90 degrees every day, and you're basically on a ship with Kiss and Cheap Trick, and we played. I think we played 3 shows on the actual the ship itself, and we played a show the night before we actually got on the cruise ship. We played a show in Miami, which was actually the first show that Tails had ever played in America, so that was cool. So we did 3 shows on the actual the ship itself, and then got to meet Kiss, and I got to speak to Paul and Gene, and it was that was a good day. It was a good day, But it was also, again, one of those things where I think it was 20 years plus of hard work. I remember thinking, well, yeah, I think I deserve this. You know what I mean? The amount of BS that I've been through along the way, and the ups and downs of the music industry and everything. It's nice every now and then to get something as big as that, So it was an incredible time, I loved every second of it. I just wish I was going back, actually, because I think it's about due to set sail like any day, like the Kiss Cruise 5. So, I'm a bit gutted that we're not on it, but you never know.
Oh, you've been there and done it, though. You've got
exactly.
The so
yeah.
So, and almost, I won't say unique, but not far off. You've experienced life on both sides of the pond. You lived in the States for a fair while. Did it ever cross your mind that the States was where it was at for you? Or was coming back to the UK always part of your plans?
It actually, coming back to the UK wasn't actually down to me, because I always felt from being, a little kid that everything that I grew up on musically, and even like TV shows, films, everything was American to me, and so I always felt that I belonged out in America, and so I moved out there in 2007 and lived there pretty much for 3 years. I had a band out there called Sins of America, which was based out in Boston, and absolutely loved it out there. And I just, it was up to me, I'd still be out there, but unfortunately it was kind of, I ended up I was married at the time and I had problems. Basically, I had problems renewing my visa, so it basically meant that I had to pretty much come back to the UK. But my plan was actually to stay out there. But with hindsight, everything that's happened since, I'm glad I did come back to the UK, because obviously, I wouldn't be doing Tails, and I wouldn't be, doing the stuff that I'm doing now, But, in an ideal world, I probably would have, still been out there, but, it's just one of those things. But, I, had a lot of good times out there, and don't regret anything about my time out there. I had a blast, it was good.
That's life, is that?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. But, every cloud, when I came back, I remember, being really depressed about stuff. But, now I think everything's kind of worked out for,
cool.
I'm actually glad I came back now. Apart from the terrible weather, obviously, in England. But you get used to that now, Yeah.
That's cool. Given all that you've been through over the years, your time in America, having to come back, in and out of bands as often, do you think the years have made Rob Wylde a wiser, better person?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I was a bit of an idiot, to be honest, and very cocky as well. And I think as you get older, you kind of you learn to. I think you learn to appreciate stuff a lot more, and you learn to kind of not take things for granted as much. And when good stuff, like when the Kiss thing happened, you really, appreciate that moment. If that had happened, when I was like 20, I probably would have been, I'd probably been too cool for it. You know what I mean? But I think as you get older, you get a little bit wiser, and you kind of become a little bit more aware of the pitfalls of, not just playing in bands, but just in life in general. Relationships and just life in general. I think you kind of become a lot more aware of things, and like I said, just appreciate things a lot more. And I think and you only get that when you've gone through a lot of, crap, basically. You kind of learn from it, and I think that's the key to it. As long as you learn from it, it's good. If you keep making the same mistake, that's when, you're an idiot, basically. But it's definitely made me wiser, yeah, without a doubt.
And do you think for guys and girls who are trying to get into the business, they would need to go through all the crap before they learn the lessons, or could they turn to people like yourself who've been there for advice? You know, would you be happy to give advice?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, be happy to give anybody any advice, you know. And I think sometimes it's good, you know. I mean, I wish when I was younger I could have kind of had somebody to tell me, you know, maybe what to do and what not to do, and which decisions to make and not make. So if anybody wants to get in touch, you know, I'll give you advice. My advice probably wouldn't be to get into the music industry, or probably to maybe, especially nowadays, maybe try something else, because it's so hard to. But having said that, I mean, if it's in your blood to play music, you know, you're always going to want to do it. But it would be, you know, like I said, if I was a kid growing up, I'd have really appreciated some, you know, good advice from maybe somebody a little bit older and wiser, you know. So.
Okay. Question I like to ask most bands: do you have a bucket list of bands that you would like to support? The ultimate support slot.
Yeah.
What would it be for you?
Well, I mean, you know, managed to tick one of them. Actually, tick two of them off the list with Kiss and Cheap Trick, who are two of my favourite bands. But that wasn't really touring. You know, we just played with them. So, but I mean, to do a full tour with Kiss would be unreal. And then probably the other bands would probably be, you know, I'd love to do, you know, a Bon Jovi tour, you know, something, and maybe Def Leppard as well. You know, they'd be kind of like the big three, really, because, you know, you're guaranteed to be playing arenas or stadiums, and, you know, they're three of my, you know, favourite bands as well. I mean, I've been lucky enough to, you know, over my kind of career, you know, played with a lot of the bands that I wanted to play with. You know, got to meet pretty much all of my idols and toured with a lot of them, actually, you know. So I've ticked quite a few off, but they'd be the big three that are still, you know, still left to be ticked off the list, I guess.
That's cool. Hey, it's been
Cool.
a fantastic few minutes.
Yeah,
Learning all
thanks for
about
having me,
Rob
mate.
Wylde, and good luck with Tiger Towns for 2016 and
Thank
everything
you.
that the band does.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you myself. And obviously the other two bands, let's hope that they progress further and you make lots of money.
Yeah, that'd be
That's the
good.
main thing.
That'd be nice.
Lots of money and sell lots of records. And keep
that'd be
well in the public. So, Rob, thanks ever so much for your
Thank
time.
you,
It's
mate.
been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
I'll catch up with you very soon.
Nice one, mate.
Joking every single punchline.